A major recent WWE signing could be set to make their official NXT debut as soon as this evening on the CW network, with them being at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. We'll let you know all the details on that. Plus, Chad Gable, he had been reported to possibly have some dates with AAA. However, it looks like those plans may have possibly collapsed. Vince McMahon's former lawyer withheld documents from federal prosecutors following the grand jury subpoena into his hush money allegations. Drew McIntyre's plans for WrestleMania 41 are reportedly now up in the air due to his recent complaints. An update on the reactions to the talents that were released by WWE over the weekend. A brand new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion has been crowned. The Young Bucks have lost the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles in their first defense. Chris Charlton is set to return to New Japan Pro Wrestling commentary after a recent suspension following comments made about AEW. Evil returns to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Shota Umino shaves his head at the New Beginning in Osaka event. And WWE announced NXT Roadblock for the theater at Madison Square Garden. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's begin with an update on Jordynne Grace and WWE NXT. This is certainly a developing news story because former TNA Knockouts World Champion and new WWE signee Jordynne Grace, according to Fightful Select, is in Orlando, Florida, and available for an appearance on WWE NXT tonight if the company chooses to go that route. The Juggernaut, of course, appeared in the Women's Royal Rumble after officially signing with the company a little over a week ago. According to Fightful Select, as I mentioned, she is in Orlando, Florida, and she will be starting with WWE NXT soon. However, if she will appear tonight on the CW remains to be seen. It had been reported that despite going to WWE's developmental brand, she has signed a WWE contract for main roster money. Of course, to get any more details, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, Chad Gable, this was certainly an interesting story, wasn't it? Because plans for Chad Gable to wrestle for AAA, aka Lucha Libre AAA worldwide, may have collapsed. Now, Brian Alvarez reported on Monday's Wrestling Observer Live that he had been told that Chad Gable was going to work some dates for AAA. Alvarez had since noted, however, that plans for Gable to be mentored by a luchador in AAA may have been scrapped. Quote, "It looks like Chad Gable will not be headed to AAA. There was a plan involving a luchador mentoring him, but it may have fallen through," Alvarez tweeted on X. Now, Chad Gable's current storyline revolves around his attempts to solve his weaknesses when wrestling luchadors, which began after his loss to Penta on January 13th. Dominic Mysterio gave Gable a piece of paper with a secret name on, and this seemingly may have led Gable to appearing in AAA. WWE and AAA have had a closer relationship in recent years, although the two promotions have not exchanged wrestlers. AAA previously worked with AEW, but their relationship was weakened after AEW forged a working agreement with AAA's biggest rival CMLL. AEW were also angered after Dragon Lee revealed he was signing with WWE only minutes after he and Dralistico defeated AEW's FTR for the AAA World Tag Team titles. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to the lawsuits and also the grand jury subpoena involving the hush money allegations made against Vince McMahon. Now, a former lawyer for Vince McMahon was wrong to withhold documents from a federal grand jury during their investigation into multi-million-dollar settlements McMahon reached with two female WWE employees who accused him of sexual abuse, a federal appeals court ruled on Monday. AP News has noted that the Second U.S. Court of Appeals in New York upheld a previous lower court ruling which stated the withheld documents were not protected by attorney-client privilege due to an exception for crime or fraud. The appeals court stated the lower court judge from the previous ruling had reasonable grounds to believe that McMahon and his former lawyer illegally circumvented WWE's internal controls, created false records to hide the settlement agreements from WWE, and made false and misleading statements to WWE's auditors. The judges wrote, quote, "Because the settlement agreements resolving the victims' claims were structured and negotiated to keep them hidden from the company, the district court found that all communication about the claims and settlement agreements were made in furtherance of the criminal scheme to keep the company and its auditors unaware of the allegations." Now, McMahon was not identified within the appeals court ruling, but a person close to the matter confirmed to AP News it was related to Vince McMahon. AP News noted that federal prosecutors served grand jury subpoenas to Vince McMahon's former lawyer and his firm in September 2023 as they sought all communications between McMahon, his former attorney, and the law firm about settlements with two WWE employees, one of which was Janelle Grant. McMahon's former lawyer submitted many materials following the subpoenas, but they withheld 208 documents claiming attorney-client privilege. After this, federal prosecutors asked the lower court to compel production of the records, which ultimately led to Monday's appeal. It was not stated who McMahon's former lawyer was, but the appeals court said the individual helped McMahon negotiate the settlements with the two employees. This would suggest the former lawyer is Jerry McDivitt, who represented McMahon from 1987 until 2023. It was stated by Janelle Grant in her lawsuit that McDivitt was part of her settlement negotiations with Vince McMahon in 2022 as part of McMahon's representation. The status of the criminal investigation into Vince McMahon was not made clear by the appeals court, but it was stated in Monday's ruling that the case concerns proceedings currently before a grand jury. At present, no indictments have been issued, end quote. McMahon's lawyer, Jessica T. Rosenberg, claimed in January 2025 that the criminal investigation was over, saying, quote, "The recent federal investigation resulted in no criminal indictments from SDNY, while the SEC settlement relates to minor accounting issues at WWE and have nothing to do with this case. Any claims to the contrary made by Janelle Grant's team are just another desperate PR stunt," end quote. People close to McMahon also reportedly claimed the investigation by federal prosecutors was over. The SEC investigation ended with the SEC ruling that McMahon violated the Securities Exchange Act. He was fined $400,000 and McMahon agreed to reimburse $1.33 million to WWE. Federal prosecutors for the Southern District of New York opened a criminal investigation into Vince McMahon in 2022 to investigate allegations of sexual misconduct and sex trafficking against McMahon dating back to the 1980s. Federal agents executed a search warrant for McMahon's phone and delivered a grand jury subpoena to him in the summer of 2023 for documents related to any allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, commercial sex transaction, harassment, or discrimination. The subpoena sought communications between McMahon and several women he had negotiated non-disclosure agreements with, including Janelle Grant. Janelle Grant filed a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis in January 2024, within which Grant accused McMahon of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and physical and emotional abuse. The lawsuit was amended in January of 2025, and the case remains ongoing. Now, there could be plans for Drew McIntyre's WrestleMania 41 plans changing. A change may be set to be made for WrestleMania 41 plans for Drew McIntyre after recent complaints from McIntyre and fans online. Coming out of the Royal Rumble match, one big story emerged in regards to Drew McIntyre, who was unceremoniously dumped out of the match by Damian Priest. Drew reportedly came to the back frustrated in regards to a number of spots involving LA Knight, ruining the timing of his elimination from the match, but Drew reportedly also had other issues. It was reported by the Daily Mail that Drew was frustrated due to his plans for WrestleMania 41, which would have been a match with Damian Priest, hence Priest eliminating him from the Rumble being intended to be a bigger deal than it came across. The match with Priest was described as a nothing match by a WWE source, which also led to some frustration in regards to Drew's spot from fans online. However, it seems as though the backlash may have led to a change of plans, as Dr. Chris Featherstone reported today that internal discussions have opened up about re-evaluating plans for Drew at WrestleMania. He wrote, quote, "Sources within WWE have informed me that the online backlash of Drew McIntyre's potential WrestleMania opponent has opened up internal discussions to re-evaluate current plans." Now, Drew qualified for the Elimination Chamber match on last week's SmackDown show, defeating LA Knight and Jimmy Uso in a triple threat match. Now, over the weekend, of course, we saw several WWE stars get released by the company. While talents can sometimes see the writing on the wall ahead of being released by WWE, that reportedly wasn't the case this time around. WWE carried out several releases over the weekend, letting go Akam, Razar, Paul Ellering, Blair Davenport, Cedric Alexander, Giovanni Vinci, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Isla Dawn, and Elektra Lopez. Sonya Deville was also informed that her contract was not being renewed by the company. According to Dr. Chris Featherstone on Backstage Pass, several of the talents who were released were upset and shocked at being let go by the company. All of the released talent are subject to a 90-day non-compete clause except for Sonya Deville due to her contract expiring. While an exact reason has not yet been revealed, the belief within NXT is the WWE releases were connected to the next batch of NXT call-ups, which are expected to take place at some point in 2025. At least one of the released WWE talents may end up in All Elite Wrestling, as the expectation is the Hurt Syndicate will push for AEW to bring in Cedric Alexander. Now, some big news coming out of New Japan Pro Wrestling today. The boyhood dream came true. Hiroki Goto is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Goto challenged Zack Sabre Jr. for New Japan's top championship in the main event of New Beginning in Osaka on Tuesday, February 11th. Zack Sabre Jr. dominated much of the match, hitting Goto with multiple Zack drivers and almost winning the match by submission, but Goto managed to make it to the ropes as fans inside the arena in Osaka rallied behind the challenger. Goto had a burst of energy after reaching the ropes, and he halted a brief ZSJ flurry with a GTW. Goto then hit an attempted GTR, only for Sabre to reverse into a pinning attempt, with Goto kicking out 2.9 as the fans in Osaka erupted. As the match reached a 20-minute mark, Goto was able to connect with the GTR, and he had a second GTR to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Having failed to win the IWGP Heavyweight title on 8 occasions between 2007 and 2016, Goto won New Japan's top bout at the 9th attempt. New Beginning in Osaka caps off a renaissance for Goto, which began in early 2024 following the passing of his father, with Goto reaching the New Japan Cup final. Goto has remained near the top of the card ever since, which included him failing to win the IWGP Global Heavyweight title from David Finlay at October's King of Pro Wrestling in a loss which left Goto's children in tears. His children weren't crying on February 11th, however, although a tearful Goto dedicated the victory to his father before celebrating in the ring with his children. Now, the Young Bucks, they didn't hold on to the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles for long. The second reign as IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions is over for the Bucks after just 37 days. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson put the IWGP Tag Team titles on the line against Los Ingobernables de Japan's Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi in a headline match at the New Beginning in Osaka on Tuesday, February 11th. The match had a frenetic pace, and the Young Bucks thought they had match won following an EVP trigger to Naito, but the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion managed to survive. The Young Bucks looked to press home their advantage soon after with a Tony Khan driver to Hiromu Takahashi, but Naito saved his tag team partner and followed up with Destinos to both Matthew and Nicholas. One more Destino to Nicholas was enough for L.I.J. to win the IWGP Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks said thank you to the New Japan fans and waved goodbye as they headed to the back post-match. How far away they are from returning to All Elite Wrestling is currently unknown. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to the New Japan status of Chris Charlton. Chris Charlton is set to return to commentary at New Japan Pro Wrestling's 53rd anniversary show on March 6th. New Japan announcer Walker Stewart made the announcement during New Japan's The New Beginning in Osaka on February 11th. Chris Charlton served as the American color commentator for New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th and New Japan and AEW's Wrestle Dynasty event on January 5th, but was notably absent from the commentary at New Japan New Year's Dash on January 6th, with El Phantasmo and Jeff Cobb asking play-by-play announcer Walker Stewart about Charlton's status. Fightful Select reported that Charlton was suspended for 2 months due to anti-AEW comments during the AEW and New Japan Wrestle Dynasty show, where he referred to Tony Khan as a money mark and questioned the booking of Jay White and Kazuchika Okada. New Japan's claim was that AEW and Tony Khan did not have input on the suspension, but Fightful have heard AEW was not happy about the comments. Now, Evil is back on New Japan Pro Wrestling television. Evil made his return at New Japan's The New Beginning today. Evil attacked Gabe Kidd and Yota Tsuji after the IWGP Global Heavyweight title bout ended in a draw after neither man could continue. Evil stated that House of Torture and Bullet Club War Dogs were no longer affiliated and referenced David Finlay, who has not been seen since New Japan's New Year's Dash. Evil, as I mentioned, stated after New Japan Battle in the Valley he would not be returning to Japan, but indeed now he is back. Shota Umino is having a bit of a breakdown, it would appear. Shota Umino suffered a defeat to the Great Okan at New Japan's New Beginning in Osaka, but the humiliation didn't stop there. After the bout, Great Okan pulled out shears to shave Umino's head. Umino took the shears and decided to do the deed himself, shaving his head as Great Okan cheered on in a stunning show. Great Okan won the bout with the STO followed by the Eliminator. And finally, many people expected it, but now WWE has officially made the announcement. NXT is headed to the theater at Madison Square Garden. WWE has announced that NXT Roadblock will be held on March 11th at the theater at Madison Square Garden. WWE made the announcement today saying, quote, WWE today announced Roadblock will take place Tuesday, March 11th at the theater at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The special episode of NXT will air live on the CW starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tickets will go on sale Friday, February 14th at 10 a.m. Eastern via Ticketmaster. Fans can purchase tickets during an exclusive pre-sale by visiting Ticketmaster and using the code NXT Live starting Wednesday, February 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern. Of course, again, it was reported previously back in January that WWE were considering holding NXT at Madison Square Garden's the theater venue. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.